Welcome to another edition of Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards right here at WHPR TV 33 and Comcast 91. Remember, you can catch us on Roku now, or if you have the WHPR Now app, I really don't know why you don't. But if you do not, go to your Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, iTunes Store, really, that's what it's called. But download that WHPR app to your mobile device, whether it's a cell phone, tablet, or any other mobile device. Put it on there, and then you can watch all of the great programming here at Comcast 91, WHPR TV 33. You're no longer required to stay at home with your television. You can take us with you wherever you go. I'm glad to be here with you again. We are live in the studio. This is February, 3rd? Yeah, the days are rolling right along. And did you notice that the sun is staying up a little bit longer? Nevertheless, we're going to get this show rolling, and I've got a couple of great guests coming your way in just a minute. So I wanted you to make sure that you sit back, relax, and enjoy wherever you are. The number to call in, 313-365-7379 is the number if you want to participate in today's show. And I've been looking forward to doing this for the last 4 or 5 days. I got in touch with a couple of my friends, and they are having a seminar event coming up next Saturday that I want you to make sure you put on your calendar and attend. It's something called the Romance and Healthy Relationship Series, and it's sponsored and produced and held by Kimberly Batchelor Davis, and she has as one of her speakers the very talented Leslie Griffin. She is a relationship and life coach. So I brought these two ladies on to talk about that event that's coming up in a week and just a little bit about who they are. I know who they are, but I definitely want you to know who they are as well. So I want to say welcome to the program, Kimberly and Leslie. How are both of you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having us on.
Good. I'm so glad you guys could be here, and I've known both of you for quite some time. But Kimberly, let me start with you. And I know you do this, and you're also an accomplished author as well.
Yes. And playwright.
That's right too.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit, before we get into that, tell the people who Kimberly Batchelor Davis is. And Leslie, I want you to do the same thing too. Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds.
Thank you. I am an author. I am a playwright, soon to be screenwriter. I'm also a wife and mother.
You got time to do all that?
I have time to do all that. Okay. So I have a family of 2 little boys, age 9 and 5, Miles and Aiden, and my husband, Kevin Davis, and I sort of manage everybody, including myself, and try to make it look good while I'm doing it.
She manages her husband. Kevin, we're going to talk after we get off the air.
Well, it says the man that finds a wife
findeth a good thing.
That's right. And so as a helpmeet, I help him.
There's no scripture in the Bible that talks about the woman that findeth a good man.
Well,
I've been looking for that one.
No, but you know what?
That's one of those lost scriptures. Go ahead, Kim.
But when you do find a good man, you work with him and you build with him to build a great relationship and to build a great life. And Kevin and I have done that. And through that is how I'm able to write my books and do plays and do screenplays and do this event. As a romance author, oftentimes I'm asked, you write these great stories. How do I get that type of romance? You've been married 20 years. What's the secret? And I always tell people, there is no secret. You have to be intentional and deliberate in your relationship. And if you're not doing that, if you're not waking up every day saying, I'm going to love this person, what are you there for? Everything else, oh yes, everything else after that,
I thought the key was you lock the house from the inside and Kevin can't leave.
No,
that's not it.
No, okay. It's not it at all. He can leave anytime he wants to.
Go ahead.
That was
okay. That's the story.
Yeah, it's a story. That's what I'm gonna stick with.
Okay. All right, Leslie.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you, Kimberly.
You're welcome,
Cliff, for inviting me. I am Leslie Griffin. I am a certified life and relationship coach, and I specialize in healthy dating. And I just want to put on the record that I am a good thing, but I have not been found. So,
all right.
Right here, 313-365-7379. And if you want to step up and make a call.
And so the way that I got into life coaching is really because of my mother. She went through a very traumatic time in her life, and I wanted to understand the dynamics of it was involving a relationship, a marriage. And I wanted to really understand the dynamics that could just absolutely kind of make a person stagnant and just stop, living for a moment. And I was only 18 years old at the time, and it really impacted me because I saw her went through just almost like a metamorphosis, if you will. So here I am, just helping people have healthy relationships, and I'm doing that from the space of self-love. So that is my platform. You cannot love another person until you have met yourself and until you intentionally and deliberately, as Kimberly said, love yourself.
Right.
And the first part is knowing who you are.
Exactly.
You have to know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, you won't be able to articulate that to another person that you're trying to get to know.
Both of you have broad followings in social media. Let me ask you, where do you come up with all this good advice, though? You'll put up something, at least once a day that's really profound. And it
Thank
may
you.
be a sentence and a half. I'll look at it and go, damn, why didn't I think of that? How do you do that?
Every morning I wake up. So I'm up probably about 3:45 a.m. I pray, I do my meditation, and I stretch. And then I'm on the road running at
what?
3:45
Yes.
a.m.
Yes.
You going yes like you up too?
No, I am absolutely not. I'm
Oh.
still asleep. I'm
Oh,
turning
okay.
over in my second wave of sleep.
But I
'Cause I
pray.
just got to bed.
I pray, I stretch, and I'm
God's up a little bit later too.
He is.
Okay.
And I meditate, and I just ask God for that day. What should I say? And another part of it is that I've been there. I've had some challenges in my relationships, so that has enabled me to garner some wisdom and to be able to speak on some things. So I'm very transparent, if you notice on my page, about.
Yeah.
You're smiling.
And in fact, before we go back to you, Kimberly, let me talk to Leslie about something else that I can touch on that you just started too. In addition to health, as a part of healthy living, you just started another venture
I did.
that involves healthy eating.
Yes.
Tell us, I won't steal your joy, tell the people what the name of that venture is, because I just love it.
Thank you so much. So the name of my newest venture is called Toss of the Town, and as Cliff stated, I am very hands-on with healthy eating. That's my life, and the business kind of happened by a mistake. I was in a bit of a jam, and being transparent again, I needed some money, and I said, what can I do? I didn't want to go and work, for another person. And I heard God say, use what I gave you.
Right.
It was so clear to me. And I said, well, I cook. And I teach about healthy loving, healthy dating principles. I said, I can really just parlay the fact that I know how to cook very well and plate very well into a business. And so Toss of the Town came about. And I was thinking, Toss of the Town is because I eat a lot of salads. I eat maybe 3 healthy heaping greens, handful of greens every day, if you will. And I'm going to start, and Cliff is going to start eating greens too. And
I already eat greens. Collards are great.
no, not laced with fat back. No, dear.
You need to switch over to
You need to
turkey.
switch
smoked
over.
turkey.
No.
But see, she trying to get me to eat the greens before they cooked.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No.
So I came up with the name because I wanted something that was very catchy. So I wanted to blend being able to do what I do, which is talk, and the salad. So I said salad, toss, talk of the town, toss of the town. And
Yeah.
it has been a blessing. It has taken off.
That's a great play on words there. Toss of the town.
Thank you.
And the salads, don't they look so pretty?
They do.
That's one of the selling parts of what she's doing is the presentation, as she said. And looking at those dishes, it really did almost make me want to eat a salad for the first time.
I use the finest ingredients. I do not prepare or cook with frozen food. I use organic vegetables and produce. I hand wash everything. I read every ingredient. And my motto is, if I can't pronounce it, I denounce it. If I don't eat it, I don't serve it. And so that's my brand, and that's my guarantee for full, healthy living and healthy eating, live active foods. We're live and organic beings. And so many of us consume a lot of dead food. So I wanted to change that paradigm, especially within the black community. So Toss of the Town is doing that, and we're here to stay.
Good. We'll get some more information on how you can get some of the Toss of the Town salads, because they do look good. I'll report on. I'll try one. She tried to get me to have one a couple of weeks ago. I kind of disappeared on her, but nevertheless, it's a growth process. That's what we're here. We're talking about a growth process. But Kimberly, let's talk about the relationship series, the Romance and Healthy Relationship series. What made you decide to get to that and want to offer that to the community?
So, piggybacking off of what Leslie said, talking about walking into your gifts. So, my youngest son is 5. After he was born, I experienced postpartum depression. It was actually diagnosed as postpartum anxiety. And
so you could relate a little bit to what Serena was going through.
I absolutely can.
Okay.
And my son was a voracious eater, so he literally ate every hour and a half breastfeeding. And it was one of those things where I started to feel like this is all that I was. I had my oldest son was just entering preschool, so it was year before kindergarten, and we were doing all this adjustment.
Hang on, for some of the viewers that might be out there, did you realize what that was when you were going through it?
No.
That's why I wanted to talk a little bit about what your symptoms were, what you were feeling, and then how you realized that's what it was.
Okay. So my symptoms were fear, inability to make decisions. I felt overwhelmed. I was extremely tired. All I wanted to do was sleep. I wanted to escape from my life. Now, as a Christian, I know that committing suicide is not something that I should do. And I can honestly say that was a thought that I had. However, I never wanted to harm my children. But the times that I would be able to escape in my car, my children would always be with me. And I would sort of let my mind wander, if I just turn into oncoming traffic, all of this could be over and I could be done.
Really?
But my children would be in the back seat. This is a true story. It was a very dark place.
But you didn't go through it with your older son.
I didn't. Younger. It was my second son.
Okay.
And part of that was just it was a storm of, he was a surprise baby. I had announced to everyone that we were done. So all my friends that are listening, they were like, yes, you sure did. I did. We had given away everything baby related. We were done. And God said, no, you're not. I'm going to bless you with this child. And that took me a while to get acclimated to that idea. I was nauseous the entire time. I couldn't drink water. I was so nauseated. Yes.
The whole pregnancy?
Like 7 months. So much to the point where I drank so much ginger ale that I developed a kidney infection. And yes, at 7 months. And I remember being in emergency because I had a pain on my side, and they thought I was getting ready to lose my son. And I said, he's not going anywhere. I said, I don't know what this is. But for whatever reason, intuitively, I knew that. And they said, no, we think it's a kidney infection. So they gave me medicine, which of course made me more nauseous. But I was like, okay, I got to get past this. And it wasn't until closer to the pregnancy that I sort of started to relax a little bit. But once he came, the overwhelming exhaustion, the overwhelming need to be everywhere, because my son was in preschool, and preschool is not like what it was years ago. So now kids have to learn all their ABCs. Like, they got to know A through Z. They can't just know A through G and still be learning. And I remember sitting in with a teacher and having my hair in a ponytail in a jogging suit. I was clean. My teeth were brushed. There was nothing bad. But the principal said to me, she had met my husband, and my husband had on a suit. And she saw me, and she told me she was not impressed. And that was the reason my son was the way that he was, because he didn't know his letters. So then there is yes, this is a sister. That's a whole nother conversation. But this was the guilt of, okay, I have this baby. I'm trying to be everything to this baby, but here is my son over here, and he's not doing well. And I started to feel like a failure. And that is the best word that I can use to describe that feeling. And
how did Kevin deal with this?
Kevin,
interject there, because did he realize it, or how was he
That was a very trying time, and Leslie and I had a conversation, because I have shared that online, bits and parts of it. It was a difficult time. We were not doing well. He was trying to do everything he could support me, but I was the angry one.
But he didn't know what you were going through because you didn't know.
I didn't know what I was going through, and
Okay.
he didn't. But here's God's providence in all of this. So as I'm going through all of this, he takes on a new job in mental health. And he meets a woman who's going through postpartum depression. And I can tell you, he came home one day and he sat down on the couch, and I was sitting there like this with my hand in my head, just feeling overwhelmed. And he said, listen, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to get you some help, because I saw you today. I saw a woman who was overwhelmed and who just sat and cried. And I can say that when we finally found a therapist for me, for 45 minutes, I bawled. I talked about how I hated motherhood. And yes, I said I hated being a mom. I love my children, but I didn't want to be a mom. I thought I was horrible at it. I thought God had made a mistake.
Even though you had successfully started out raising the oldest child.
Yes, because I felt like a failure. I absolutely felt like a failure. And I am a perfectionist by nature. I have to pull back from that sometimes. And the therapist let me cry for 45 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes, he said, okay, so let me tell you what's going on. You're normal. Everything that you're feeling, lots of women go through it. He said two things. He said, one, you are a great mother. You talk about all the things that you do. He said, but two, what do you do for yourself? And I wasn't doing anything for myself. I wasn't. I'm not a cook like Leslie. I can cook very well, but that's not my passion. I'm not the traditional woman that likes to be in the kitchen. And I said, well, I write stories. That's what I do. He said, that's work. He said, what do you do? And for about 2 minutes, I sat there. I said, I don't know. And I had to relearn and find myself again, because I had lost myself in motherhood, in diapers, and breastfeeding, and trying to be there for my husband and being there for everybody else. I lost myself. And no one realized, even when I would complain and say things, and people would say, oh, we don't say that. You shouldn't talk about that. That's not right. And so I bottled it up and closed up because I didn't have an outlet. And there are lots of women who feel like this, who don't have outlets, who don't have spouses, or who don't have family or friends. And this is why I do this. This is why my first romance story is wrapped around postpartum depression. I wanted to write a romance and healthy relationship series where women could come forth and talk about how their relationships are impacted by the choices that they make. We have a couple that's coming, Hassani and Shelby Lee, which is twin flames, and they talk about how fasting made their marriage better. So I think that there is a connection between what we eat, what we speak, what we think, in terms of how we relate.
I need to come to that seminar.
You need to
Figure out how giving up my wife's cooking is going to make my marriage happier.
Well, you got to give up Popeyes, so I'm just saying that's not good.
Small steps. Let's not get carried away. There's a Popeyes right across the street.
I know.
Go ahead.
But all of that, I believe that's my gift. My gift is to tell stories. My gift is to be able to advocate for people. I've done that for so many years on community issues, and why not do something that I feel very passionate about, which are relationships and families and motherhood and writing. And so I'm incorporating all of that. And of course, Dr. Sabrina Jackson is coming to give us the psychological approach, and she's going to be our expert and help analyze people and tell them, different things that they can do, techniques in order how to proof your relationship. I personally believe a lot of people are unhappy because you overlooked something in the beginning, and then you got married and you thought you can change it. And as women, we think that we can change everything in a man. The Bible says the woman is busy from sun up to sundown. What do women do? We are great multitaskers. We can take care of everybody, but who takes care of us?
Well, the husband, doesn't the Proverbs also say we're sitting out there bragging about what a good woman we have to all the other men in the gates?
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we give you a little break every once in a while.
You do, but that's every once in a while. Sometimes it has to be on a daily basis. And so one of the things that I adopted, I walk every day for at least 60 minutes. And typically I try to do 5 miles a day.
That's great. Leslie,
Thank
you
you.
wanted to jump in? I thought.
I did. Kimberly said something that was so poignant during her process of discovering what was going on with you in terms of the postpartum depression. And you said that you didn't know what you wanted to do. And that was almost a process of unbecoming so that you could become who you need to be. And that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about during this conference, is really unbecoming, just so you can discover or maybe meet yourself once again. Because we're walking around, as Kimberly said, we're doing so many things for so many people. We have these long to-do lists, and we're nowhere on that list. So this morning, I think I posted on my social media platform, I said, out of everything that you're doing, make sure you're at the top, because you're no good to no one else, to anyone else. Or you're not effective in ministry. We serve on several thousand auxiliaries. You're not effective in your job if you haven't taken care of you. And again, with the eating right, there's so many correlations to what you eat. It affects your mood. It can dampen or it can ignite your immune system. Eating salads, Cliff, can help your sex life.
Oh.
Did you bring one?
Oh. Well, if you come to our event, we're gonna work on that.
You see, folks, you see how desperate she is to want me to start eating salad.
I
She
want
even
Cliff
put that
to
in
be
there.
healthy.
Oh, it helps your sex. I knew that would ring some kind of. Wait a minute, are you saying it needs help? Wait, where are you going with that? Now that I think about that,
I am not familiar
He's gonna bring
with
names
your.
in. He's gonna bring
we're going
names.
to continue this conversation
Yes,
on the
let's
other side of
continue
this break. Seems like a good segue to take a pause just for a second. I'm here with Kimberly Batchelor Davis and Leslie Griffin. We're going to continue this conversation. I can't even get the words out. You're watching Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards here at Comcast 33 and 91. We'll be right back right after this.
Lord have mercy.
Are the cameras off?
Yes.
And we're back. This is Your Turn with Cliff Woodward. It's coming up on 1:30 on Saturday, February 3rd. We're live in the studios here in Highland Park, WHPR TV 33, Comcast 91. You can also catch us on Roku if you have a Roku device. Just download the WHPR app to that platform, or if you have a tablet, a cell phone, or any other mobile device, go to your app store, whether it's the Google Play Store or iTunes, search for the WHPR Now app, download it to any of those devices, and you can take us along with you wherever you may travel. And that's not just for Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards, but for all of the great shows here at TV 33, Comcast 91. I think we had a caller on the line. Let's get to her. Good afternoon. It's Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards and my guests, Kimberly and Leslie.
Hello, Cliff, and to your guests, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you.
Great show, great topic. We all need to understand the toxins that's going on through our food, water, and the air. So it's very important that we keep each other updated and encouraged to eat right, do right. It's a challenge, and it's a progress every day for us to struggle with, the things we need to do to keep our minds and our spirits in tune. But you're absolutely right. If you look up cure for cancer, they'll show you how these animals are being tortured and poisoned and medicated. And so all that chemistry goes into your body and into your brain. So I think that's why we have such a violent society of people being angry, people being fearful, and all these mood changes. It's because of what the diet, what they eat. They say you are what you eat. So if you're eating an animal that was tortured, poisoned, scared to death, brutalized, then all that energy that animal went through before its death, you're eating that. So I do believe that, because as soon as I stop eating that beef, I could stay woke, I can stay energized, I can stay happy and not angry and extremely tired. But yeah, we must keep ourselves updated and encouraged to eat, think, and keep our spirits right. Thank you for taking my call. I love your show. I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. I think I'm just going to wind up having to keep being a little frightened then. We've got another call coming in. Good afternoon. It's Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards, Kimberly Batchelor Davis, and Leslie Griffin.
Yeah, peace and blessings. How are you all doing? Beautiful young ladies. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, what about the handsome brother? I can't get no. See, I got to quit bringing all these pretty ladies on the show.
Well, I blushed. The young lady said she was single, and trust me, man, I was looking for my shoes and my jacket.
The address is 160 Victor.
Oh, shit. I tell you the truth. But you talked about a gamut of things. One thing about mental health, I have two things to say about mental health. One thing, you have habits and you have addictions. Habits are things that you acquire from looking and seeing, and addictions is something that you acquire from doing it over and over. But one of the best things about it is habits can be broken faster, like going cold turkey, than addictions. So, another thing, the young lady, health is a balance between the mental, physical, and emotional, a union in between the two, which establish what we could call the whole body.
That's the holistic approach.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, Leslie says that's the holistic approach.
Yes. And extended family, I believe, within the structure of, I was listening to the young lady's story. I can't, pardon me because I can't remember your name.
Kimberly.
But as your journey was going, the extended family isn't always friends. And
absolutely.
Friends sometimes become family.
Yes.
And so within our journey, we accumulate what we need to strengthen us to continue on.
Yes.
And I believe I felt that from your story, from listening to you.
Thank you.
All right.
So you represent very well. All of you all represent very well. I'm not familiar with the brother right there, but the lady with pardon, the ladies with the relationship element.
How he not gonna be familiar with? It's my show. How you not gonna be familiar with me?
But the young lady that said she was single caught my attention.
But that means you got to eat salad 3 times a day if you want to marry Leslie. I'm not sure if you up for that one.
For 8 years. then I fell off the wagon for a little while, but hey, I'm ready to stand back up.
Thanks a lot for calling your dating service. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, you all have a continued blessed day.
All right,
too.
bye-bye. 313-365-7379 if you want to give us a call. We're talking about relationships and healthy living, healthy eating with my special guests, Kimberly Batchelor Davis and Leslie Griffin. This is an interesting conversation that we're having. Now, do you think that women feel all of this because you all are more, should I say, nurturers? Is that really a fair?
Nurturers, emotional. I think
because we men gonna take care of ourselves first, typically.
Absolutely, you do. However, I would say that, but I think that in terms of if we're talking about sex, yes. But if we're talking about in terms of general overall health, men typically aren't the ones to go to the doctor. The women,
The
women in their lives typically are the ones to push them to do that.
I was thinking when I said that in terms of when before the break you were talking about how you all need to learn how to carve out time for yourselves.
Yes.
We will do that.
Oh, yes, you
if
will.
it's nothing but going down in the man cave and say, look, y'all stay
Exactly,
upstairs.
Men
Right.
are escapists.
Yes.
Women, we have to stay there until we
Pull the
know.
mic up a little bit closer to you. There you go.
We have to stay there until we know that it's done, and
Right.
we like things done a certain way. And I just think, as Kimberly said, she's a perfectionist. I'm a nurturer. I'm very caring. I'm very giving, sometimes to my detriment. So I even have to pull back from nurturing others, and I have to say, wait a minute, okay, Leslie, you know, you said that you were going to run twice a day instead of just once a day. So maybe you can't do this right now.
Right.
There are a lot of times you just have to say, no, I can't do this. No, this doesn't work for me. I'm booked. And you don't have to give an explanation. Just no, I'm not available.
Right.
And we have to be comfortable with saying that without feeling guilty.
Yes.
I think women have we have a higher proclivity to feel guilty for not extending ourselves
Yes.
when we're needed. But we need us.
Right.
So we cannot have this, we can't
How do you
get on this
do
guilt
that?
trip.
Because I think I got into that estrogen line by accident myself about telling people no.
It's hard.
It's hard for me to do that. Like, to give an example, when other lawyers will ask me to cover cases, you know, to stand in for them because they're somewhere else. And we all want to work together. You know, you need help from time to time. Was it Wednesday? Wednesday. I was in the middle of a trial, and a lawyer asked me, can you cover these couple of cases for me? I got to be in juvenile court. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like thinking, why did I just say, yeah, I'm going to be in trial. I can't go nowhere.
You have
but
to
it's like,
practice.
how do you learn to say no to some people without feeling like you're hurting their feelings?
You have to practice saying no. And a thing that will help you to be able to do that more effectively and more often is to always keep your goals and your priorities in front of you.
Yes.
But doesn't that fly in direct conflict with what you were saying earlier, Kim, when you were saying, you know, we as ladies, we do everything for everybody else. We need to learn how to carve out our own time. But now you're telling me I've got to learn how to take care of my own goals first. So do you find that to be in conflict with each other sometimes?
So
No, it's a compliment. There's no, it's not conflict. It complements. So if I'm
but you have
saying,
to find a compliment.
well, if you're not used to saying no, you will
Right.
have to find the compliment. For me, it's not a conflict because I've been practicing just saying I'm unavailable. I can't.
Okay.
So for me, as a author and a playwright and a screenwriter, one of the things that I just had this conversation with a friend of mine, and he said, I want you to focus on you and stop focusing on everybody else. So there are a couple projects that people have done around me that they have called me and said, Kim, you know such and such. Can you help me get in touch with them? I need to do this, this, and this. And I get excited for them, but it's not my project. It's not my goal. What I can do is connect them with someone, but I need to drop out of it. And I think that's one of the things that Leslie was talking about. As women, we always want to say yes, and we always want to help somebody, because I think that deep down we always feel like somebody wasn't there for us, so we want to help somebody else. But the problem is you get to the point where you're always helping somebody else, and then when you need help, no one is there for you.
But see, my problem is just the opposite. I will look at it and say, somebody helped me.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to do the same in this case.
True.
And I feel guilty if I don't, because I know somebody did something.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. If you're sick and you have the flu and you're at home and somebody called you and you have a 102-degree fever and said, Cliff, we need you to cover this case, what would your answer be?
Now, that's a little bit on the extreme side.
It's not extreme at all.
It's not, because
You would say yes.
No. If I got the flu as 102, no, I'm not getting out of bed.
But there are people that would. And I can say in extreme cases, I have done that, where I have been sick, because I'm a nurturer and compassionate, and I'm empathetic to people's needs. And so there have been times where I have overlooked my own need to be there for someone else when I didn't have to. Because of that process, somebody helped me. I need to help somebody else. There's a fine line, though, and you have to find that. And I think that's what Leslie was speaking on when she was talking about being compliment. You have to find where that fine line is. Now, for you, as an attorney, to cover cases, that's an admirable thing, but you are in a trial. So that means preparation, making sure that your witnesses are ready, making sure that you have everything put together for your trial to make sure that you're on point, and you run from place to place. So
you have to balance.
Right, you have to balance it. So here's one of the tricks that I do. Now when people ask me, I'm still working on saying no, I've gotten much better. But I say, let me check my schedule. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, is this something I need to do? And then I look at my schedule, and literally on my phone, I have everything. I have the times that I write. I have the times I pick my kids up, so that I remember, like Leslie's saying, what are my goals? What are the things that I'm responsible for? Because there have been times, and people will tell you who know me very well, I double book myself all the time. I'm supposed to be at one place, and I'll forget, and I'll tell somebody, sure, I can be there. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, crap. And then I'm torn, because how am I supposed to be in two places at one time? And so then I'm literally running from one place to another place to another place to another place. And it sort of feels like you're always frazzled and you never have enough time for yourself.
Okay. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'll figure that out. 313-365-7379 if you would like to give your own suggestions on how you can perhaps say no. Have you ever had any experiences where you couldn't say no, but you learned how to balance your life? Let us know what your success stories are in this 15 minutes or so that we have remaining on the program, if you have gone through this and try to manage the stress in your life. We're talking with Kimberly Batchelor Davis and Leslie Griffin about healthy living, healthy choices, relationships, and romance. And so just let us know what you think about that. If you've got a story to tell, we'd like to hear it. Now, this is coming up, as we said, next Saturday. Where is it going to be?
It's going to be at Thinkers Co-working Spaces and Lofts, which is at 14346 East Jefferson. That's Jefferson right before you get to Alter. I believe it's Lakewood in East Jefferson.
All right.
So it's right in the Jefferson Business District area.
Okay. Before we get out of here, let's talk about this book that you have. It's called
Escape
to Paradise. And if you can see this publication that she wrote.
And there's book 1 and book 2.
Oh, okay. Now, this is something that I've always been interested in, because if you follow me on Facebook, I talk about wanting to go to an island all the time.
We talk about that all the time, don't we, Cliff? I was trying to get in on the deal with you.
Well, the whole idea of escaping to an island is nobody else is going to be there.
Exactly.
No, you can't go. Get your own island.
I know. I was trying to get a timeshare.
So what are these books about?
So, Escape to Paradise came about because of my battle with postpartum depression. And as a storyteller, I wanted to write a story that wasn't necessarily preachy, but that would engage people, that they would understand it. And Escape to Paradise is about an African American woman who's an attorney. She's a corporate attorney, and she's taking care of her sister's family. And her sister is suffering from postpartum depression. She's in a broken marriage. They're financially bankrupt, broke, and she's just dealing with all the issues of taking on someone else's baggage and not saying no. And they live in her home in Indian Village, and they're literally destroying her home. And so her brother says you need a vacation. And he sends her to St. Thomas, where she meets the owner of a villa, who is the brother, who has his own jet, and he's very wealthy. And they fall in love. And over the course of 3 books, we get to see if this relationship lasts, or is his need to throw money at problems, or her need to lean in and be there for everybody. How do they manage that, and can they make their relationship last because of that?
Wow.
Yes.
Let's finish talking about that in a second. We've got another call. Good afternoon. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards.
Good afternoon, Mr. Woodward.
How are you?
Not too bad. I got a good suggestion for you.
What's that? About saying no?
And yes, sir. And good afternoon to both of you ladies.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And the phrase I always use, and it's like she said, you got to practice it, practice it, practice it. The phrase that I always use is, I would if I could, but I ain't if I can't.
All right. I like that.
Okay. I'm going to have to try that.
So you practice that.
Okay, I'll give that a shot.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, so did she escape to paradise in her mind? Or?
No, she actually flies to St. Thomas. She stays in a villa by herself. She's the only person in this villa. The problem is she gets there, she's got full service chef and a butler who wait on her every hand in need. The owner of the villa flies home unexpectedly because he's been left at the altar. So he's pissed off, yes. He's pissed off because he's been left at the altar by this beautiful model who didn't want to just marry him for his money.
Wow, I'm going to have to purchase these books and read how this story concludes. That's really interesting.
Thank you.
And so it spreads over 3 books?
Yes, and I'm working on book 3 now.
Okay.
And hopefully by spring we will be done, and the 3rd book will be out.
And that's a beautiful cover.
Thank you.
Looking at those books.
Yes.
Just makes you think, especially in light of the weather prediction for
Oh my
tomorrow.
goodness, yes, I know.
We all look like you didn't look like you didn't know what it was going to be. Did you hear about
Getting
it?
some accumulation.
Oh, a whole
Yes.
lot.
But Leslie runs in the
I'll
snow.
still run in the snow. You
What?
just put some tracks on the bottom of your shoes and tread through this. It's actually better because the snow cushions your run. I love it. I can't wait.
And I walk in the snow.
Love it.
At some point in time, this becomes fanatical.
It's it's intentional.
And haven't I seen you in a gym before?
It's possible.
Okay. Not
I'm
live
there.
on your page.
Yes.
Okay. You couldn't go into the gym instead of being in the snow?
After I get out of the snow, I go to the gym and do my weights. So I get off the road, then I go to the gym.
They got treadmills in the gym.
I cannot run on a treadmill probably for more than 2 miles. It's stationary.
It's different.
I have to
It's
have
different.
I have to have a go-to and a destination and an arrival.
It's quiet when I walk.
It
Even
is.
when it's snowing and it's cold, I bundle up and then
Yep.
layer up and have my boots on. And me and my dog, we go and we walk. And I put my headphones on and listen to my music.
It's so peaceful.
And for 60 minutes, that's my quiet time.
I'm calling ASPCA on you, or Peter. You got that dog subjected to out there walking in the snow. You got a choice. He don't. I'm sure at some point in time he looked at you like, wait, hold up, and stopped at the door.
And those days, then I don't take them. I go by myself.
Oh, so he has good enough sense to know when to stay in. You keep going out.
I keep going out.
See, that no.
But that's being intentional, and that's me taking care of me. And so the decisions that you make as an individual work for you. They may not work for everybody else. You have to find what works for you.
Yeah, okay. If you say so. Any last parting words of advice from either one of you all the audience ought to know?
I'm just going to piggyback again off what Kimberly is. The choices that we make today define our next 5 minutes. They define our tomorrow. And so, again, you have to be intentional. Always have your goals in front of you and in balance. You can't do it all. Being super, women, we want to be super. So we've been wearing this tagline, I'm a superwoman, this cape. Well, that's just making us tired. And it's okay to take off the cape. It's okay to derobe and delayer. Even if you're just doing it for yourself, because when you do it for yourself first, the people that are in your life are going to experience your peace. They're going to experience your tranquility. And I always say, don't give everyone the best of you. And so then when you get to the right person, then all of you have left is the rest of you. You need to save the best of you.
That's one of them little things I like. Say that part again. That was kind of cool.
That was good.
Now, I probably can't remember.
Yeah,
I was saying it's important to not give.
Hang on just a second. You can think about it again. Okay. Hang on. Let me get to the caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodward, Kimberly Batchelor Davis, and Leslie Griffin.
Hello, Counselor Woodward. How are you?
At least somebody know me. How you doing? You all right?
Yes, I'm a longtime fan of your show before you went over to the other,
We won't talk about that.
Okay, I'm just saying. Hello to your guests. How are you ladies doing today?
Great. How are you?
Thank you.
I'm doing fine. I want to piggyback on what the ladies are saying. This is a good show today. And the reason why I can piggyback on what your last guest just said, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I give so much of my time to so many different people. I mean, a lot of people. It was to the point it was about to break me down. And I had to end up going to the doctor. And I had to tell my doctor myself, and I'm not putting this out. I went to my doctor last month. I said, Doctor, I think I'm depressed. And he said, no, you're not. He said, because when you come in my office, you laugh, you just smile. I said, yeah, that's because I'm outside the house. But when I'm in the house, you don't know what I deal with people calling me, asking me, oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do that? With that being said, Mr. Woodward, you know who I am, but I won't discuss who I am. But with that, I want to say this to you, Mr. Woodward. I don't know how your judges, your attorneys, social workers, teachers, anyone deal with the public. I don't know how you all do it, because I'm doing it, and I'm sitting at home doing it, and I'm not getting paid to do it. And for you all to do that, I take my hat off, and I tell that to every judge that I run across. I say, I don't know how you all sit up there, listen to those cases, and I can't see how you do it, Counselor. I don't know how you do it. But I want to just say, take time out for yourself, and that's what I had to do as of January 1st. I told everybody, I don't care what problems you have. Whatever problems you have, you're going to have them without. I'm about to break down.
All right. And I think that was probably some good advice for yourself.
Yes.
Take care of you first.
And I'm glad that you had these ladies come on. And can we have them to come on every 3 months? And the reason why I'm saying this, because someone probably didn't listen to your show today. But if they come back on again. And this is in the black community, that we don't talk about mental illness. This has a lot to do with mental illness, panic attacks, anxiety attacks. All that is mental illness.
Right.
So I'm just saying, I'm asking you, please, I beg you, to let them come on in the spring. If they're, let me say this, if you all can, I would like if you don't mind, let them come back on in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall.
She's going to be my booking agent.
I hear. Definitely need to talk about.
All right, I'll do that. I've got to wrap up the show, but thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story.
Thank you.
I will be calling you at your office, Mr. Woodward.
All right, look forward to talking to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That about wraps that up. But that was let's see if we can get one more real quick. Good afternoon. It's your turn with Cliff Woodward, Kimberly Batchelor Davis, and Leslie Griffin. You got about 60 seconds.
All right, how are you guys?
Good. How you doing?
Everybody has a deep reservoir of talent and skills and genius. And what I think the best thing we can do for each other is to help them tap into it, so they don't drain us of all of ours. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You get to keep it balanced, and we're not all supermen and women, and that's why a lot of people get disappointed, and why we disappoint ourselves. We hurt, we cry, we have moments of laughter and joy and stuff like that, and it's agile, and we have to develop some kind of emotional courage and maturity. Great show. Thanks, Cliff.
Thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Got to wrap it up now. Again, what is this? I can't. This is, and in fact, okay, 30 seconds on this, because I've seen you've called several times, but so I'm going to get you in right here. Good afternoon. It's your turn with Cliff Woodward, Kimberly Batchelor Davis, and Leslie Griffin. What's going on?
You meant on self first, being selfish. And the relationship is that it's important that you can have it to give it. As far as love, if you don't like yourself, you don't have it to give it. Desire but not the will. You want something better for yourself, but you might not have the support that can motivate you or move you towards your goal or objective. And I like the walking meditation. When the ladies say that they exercise, well, I'm incorporating both the ladies because I believe in the unity of the ladies. Mm-hmm. Walking and jogging. Walking meditation is when you step and put your problems down on the ground and step over them so that you can overcome them.
Okay. Thank you so much for that advice. We appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye. Nobody else. Nope. That's it. We're done. No, I can't. I got to go. So we're breaking up.
Keep it at no.
I can start now. No, I can't take any more calls. I'm sorry about that. Again, the event's coming up next Saturday.
Yes,
February 10th. From 1 until 4,
yes.
And it's going to be at the Thinkers Co-working Space and Lost. Leslie, tell the people how they can get a hold of you if they wanted to get some of the healthy living salads and all that.
Sure. So I am best reached on social media, on my Facebook page. It is a public page, Leslie J. Griffin on Facebook. You can also drop me an inbox. I am also on Instagram at life_coach_les, L-E-S.
One
and
more time,
life_coach_les. And I really look forward to connecting with all of you all. So let's get together.
And Kimberly, how can they reach you?
You can reach me at Kimberly, or I'm sorry, I have a new website address now. It's Kim, K-I-M, capital B, capital D as in Davis, AVIS.com, or you can reach me at Kimberly at KimberlyBatchelorDavis.com, and that email comes directly to me. I look forward to seeing everyone next Saturday and answering any questions and helping us move forward in this journey.
Guys, come on, ladies, come on back.
Thank you.
All right, will you do that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Listen, I've had a great time here with you this Saturday. Sorry I can't take any more calls. RJ's got the music queued up. I will not be here the next 2 Saturdays. The Angels will be in my spot right here. Come on back and you'll enjoy it. I want to thank R.J. Watkins Jr. for allowing me to have this platform each and every Saturday. R.J. Watkins Jr. for producing this program as he does in his immaculate way each and every Saturday. I'll see you back here on first Saturday in March, as a matter of fact, if the good Lord is willing, as my grandmother used to say, and the creek don't rise. R.J., that's a wrap. Take us on out of here.